Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And new at noon, our risk for heavy rain is increasing, especially early next week as we take a look at the tropics. I'll show you what we're watching.
Suspect in court. A man charged with using a fake ID to get a teaching job faces the judge.
And chain reaction crash. A truck goes airborne, landing on the hood of another car. How this all started. Afternoon storms are in the forecast with a chance that a few could be severe. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lemgood. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Elizabeth, our weather team has been watching the tropics very closely.
That's right. So we're going to start there, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about what's going to happen the next couple of days. So right here near the Dominican Republic is a system that could become Imelda. And if it does, it's likely to start to move northward. We have Humberto. It is a tropical storm right now, could become a major hurricane in the next 48 hours or so. So we're going to talk about the two of these together and where they're headed. First of all, we'll take a look at our model plots, and you can see all of a sudden what could be Imelda. It still hasn't formed yet. Could make landfall here in the southeast, particularly in southern South Carolina. Now, the models had been hinting at that, but they've been sort of all over the place. Some of them wanted to pull it out to sea. Some of them wanted to bring it inland. And all of a sudden, the models that you hear us talk about most frequently, the American and the European model, are both in agreement about this happening during the day on Tuesday, most likely Tuesday morning. That means significant impacts for us in North Carolina. And that's not the only thing. We're going to be worried about Humberto as well. We'll talk more about that coming up. But let's talk about our rainfall. 2 to 4 inches would probably be on the lower end. I'm going to show you another map associated with the American model that really shows even more rainfall than that, especially with this developing tropical situation where that storm could make landfall in South Carolina. So the risks are increasing. The storm threat for today has definitely been trimmed back, but it's not zero. You can see this band of showers moving toward us. We have the cold front that's still well to the west, and that's what's going to bring us some rain today and tomorrow. We do have some rain falling across parts of the triad, and I do expect that to move in, and it's possible that 1 or 2 of those storms could produce some wind damage. We see about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, those moving on through, and we'll see them on and off through the evening, and then a repeat of that tomorrow. We'll talk more about that severe threat and our flooding threat coming up.
All right, we'll come back to you in just a bit, Elizabeth. Thank you. The man accused of stealing another person's identity to get a teaching job appeared in court today. WRAL Investigates told you Gregory Pettiford worked in at least 4 schools in our area, and he did so using different names. We have to bring in WRAL's Destiny Patterson for this. Destiny, you were in court today, and you managed to ask Pettiford some questions.
Chris, no cameras were allowed in this courtroom today, but I was inside when Pettiford opted for a court-appointed attorney. Now, he was in court today because of identity theft charges after police say that he stole someone's identity to get hired at a Franklin County school. Earlier this month, I told you that he's worked at least 3 other school systems in our area as well, and that he often uses aliases while working there. Now, I've tried several times to get in touch with Pettiford outside of court. Every single one of his listed phone numbers is disconnected, and he no longer lives at the home address listed on court documents. So after his court appearance, I asked some of the questions that I've been wanting to ask him.
Hey, I'm with WRAL. I just wanted to know, why did you continue teaching? Have you had a chance to speak with your attorney? I mean, do you have a teaching license? Have you ever had one? What's your message to your students and their families?
Now, of course, we weren't going to chase him. I genuinely wanted to hear his side of the story, but as you heard there, he had no comment. Destiny Patterson, WRAL News, live in Franklin County.
Yeah, kept on running. All right, thank you, Destiny. There are new charges against a Raleigh man accused of putting hidden cameras inside a home under construction in Garner. 34-year-old Andrew Belter now faces more than a dozen counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Earlier this month, he appeared in court via video on felony peeping and breaking and entering charges. The prosecutor said construction workers found 2 cameras during a home inspection on August 13th. Well, police were able to use serial numbers on the cameras to track down Belter.
The clock is ticking on legislators to fund Medicaid. They have until the end of the month to reach a deal. Otherwise, the State Department of Health and Human Services will start to cut reimbursement rates to hospitals, nursing homes, and other medical providers who treat Medicaid patients. WRAL Sean Gallagher is downtown where local leaders are speaking up, Sean.
Michelle, Congresswoman Deborah Ross held a roundtable within the last hour or so to talk about the importance of maintaining Medicaid and that it's something that could impact nearly a quarter of our entire state's population. Now, people that joined Congresswoman Ross were in the medical field, as well as a local woman who receives Medicaid to care for her 6 children. More than 3 million North Carolinians receive Medicaid benefits, and they're at risk of losing that valuable health care supplement. But state lawmakers on both sides are largely in agreement to provide the funding necessary to keep Medicaid afloat in North Carolina. The hang-up here is around whether the budget should include funding for a new children's hospital or not. That's a decision not in Congresswoman Ross's hands, but one she hopes state lawmakers are taking very seriously.
Without Medicaid, we can't have a children's hospital. Without full Medicaid, most of those children who are going to be in that children's hospital are not going to have private insurance. So this isn't just a negotiation issue. This is a foundational issue.
The Children's Hospital funding is a point of contention in the State House, but House Speaker Destin Hall said Tuesday members aren't fully comfortable funding the Children's Hospital project while rural hospitals are struggling, and also dismissing claims that the House is going back on its word for funding. Now, what we heard from Congresswoman Ross today is something likely to be echoed by Governor Josh Stein later this afternoon, as he's planning to hold a press conference as well to urge the General Assembly to fully fund Medicaid. We'll, of course, bring you those updates later this afternoon. In Raleigh, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
The State Health Plan Board of Trustees will meet tomorrow with time running out for Duke and Aetna to reach a deal. We've reported extensively in recent weeks that the sides are at a standoff, meaning hundreds of thousands of state employees could end up paying more for their health insurance. Aetna will drop Duke Health if the sides cannot reach an agreement within the next few weeks. The state treasurer's office said the board will talk about the negotiations tomorrow. It expects that the board will take some sort of action to prepare what life would look like if a deal is not reached.
Today, the push for help to recover from Helene is ongoing 1 year since the storm devastated western North Carolina. People there are still working to rebuild what they lost. The storm killed more than 100 people in our state, and it left behind nearly $60 billion in damage. Now, over the last year, people have been hard at work rebuilding towns, their homes, and their roads. And events are planned over the next several days to mark the anniversary of Helene. In fact, tomorrow, Governor Josh Stein, state and federal leaders will be in western North Carolina, and they'll tour the I-40 reconstruction zone. They will also have a ribbon cutting ceremony, and that's happening at the Blue Ridge Parkway in Asheville to celebrate the progress on repairs. And folks, just a reminder, tonight, WRAL marks 1 year since that disaster with a new documentary focused on the families and the communities changed forever. It's called Helene: What We Lost, What We Found, and it airs at 7:30 p.m. on WRAL and wherever you stream WRAL.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the UN General Assembly this morning virtually. This is video of that appearance. During that speech, Abbas said that Palestinians reject the 2023 Hamas attack. He also ended that speech by saying Palestinians will not leave their homeland despite the deadly war. Now, earlier this week, several nations, including Canada, recognized the Palestinian statehood, which is not supported by the U.S. Also, Abbas appeared before the General Assembly virtually because the Trump administration denied him a visa to attend.
We are waiting to learn more about a wild chain reaction crash involving 3 cars and a pickup truck. Take a look at this. It happened around 5:30 this morning at Creech Road near Clayton. State troopers say the pickup truck was making a turn when it was sideswiped by a car. The car tore off the side of the truck's bed, sending it airborne into the hood of the oncoming car. A 4th car then swerved to avoid a head-on crash, but clipped one of the spinning cars. No one was seriously hurt, but a pregnant woman was taken to the hospital just as a precaution. And we now know the name of the man who died after being hit by an Amtrak train in Durham. It happened just after 5:30 on Tuesday near the intersection of 9th and Pettigrew Streets. Investigators say 27-year-old Dashiell Warren was wearing headphones and walking on the tracks. Police say the engineer blew the horn, but Warren did not stop. No one on the train was physically hurt.
One person was arrested and another was detained after a foot chase near Chavis Park in Raleigh. Police say they were trying to make a traffic stop just after 11:30 p.m. Well, that's when they say two people jumped from the car and then took off. A man was caught and arrested, and he is charged with possession of a stolen vehicle, among other things. A person under the age of 18 was detained and then later released. And we are waiting to get more information about a burglary investigation in Wake County. The WRAL breaking news tracker captured this video at a smoke shop on Timber Drive in Garner. You can see broken glass on the door. Forensics was there earlier taking photos of the scene, but no arrests have been made.
New figures from the Commerce Department shows the U.S. economy grew 3.8% in the second quarter, significantly stronger than previously reported. That's a half a point more than the rate given during the second report. GDP was revised higher largely due to new additional data on consumer spending. Analysts say increased consumer spending and falling imports helped boost the economy over the past few months. And with all of that in mind, let's take a look at Wall Street this afternoon. Right now, the Dow Jones down 70 points. Red all across the board. S&P 500.
The FDA plans to conduct a new review of mifepristone. That's a pill that can be used in the abortion process. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty Makary wrote a letter about this. And that letter was sent to 22 Republican attorneys general detailing the plan. It says the FDA would conduct, quote, its own review of the evidence, including real-world outcomes and evidence related to the safety and efficacy of the drug, end quote. But some abortion advocates are concerned about what this review would lead to. The company Giant is the world's largest bike manufacturer, and it is warning American consumers of shipment delays after a surprise U.S. customs ban. Now, customs officials, blocked company imports from Taiwan factories. And the agency says it found evidence of forced labor and abusive working conditions at the facilities. It also accused Giant of debt bondage and other signs of worker abuse. Giant says it is, quote, firmly committed to upholding human rights and labor protections.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs returns to court today for a hearing ahead of his sentencing. His lawyers argue that he spent enough time in jail. They're asking that Combs be sentenced to no more than 14 months in prison, and with credit for good behavior, he could be eligible for release immediately. Prosecutors want Combs to spend more time behind bars. A jury convicted him of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Sentencing is set for October 3rd. By that time, he will have been in jail for nearly 13 months. A Charleston County judge charged with possessing child sexual abuse material will remain in jail without bond for now. James Gosnell has presided over some notable cases, including the bond hearing for Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof. Authorities arrested Gosnell after an investigation linked an account association with him to a site in the UK that was distributing child sex abuse material. Investigators say the 68-year-old described traveling to Puerto Vallarta to have sex with a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old.
The FAA is investigating why a United Airlines passenger jet overshot a runway to Roanoke, Virginia. This happened last night shortly before 9:30. Virginia State Police say the plane touched down but didn't have room to stop. Well, that's where a concrete bed stopped the plane. The safety system slows a runway aircraft by collapsing under its weight. Officials say that 53 passengers and crew were aboard that aircraft, but no injuries were reported. That's good. Bloodied in the batter's box.
Ball coming inside, and Fry gets hit by it.
Yeah, I saw the pictures that I'm lying. Ouch. Cleveland Guardian slugger David Fry tried to bunt a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Well, Fry suffered a broken nose and facial fractures, but doctors did not have to perform surgery, so that's kind of good, right? He's expected to fully recover in 6 to 8 weeks. Detroit's Tariq Skubal, though, who threw the ball, struggled to regain composure after what happened and just kept making mistakes. The Guardians eventually went on to win 5-2, but, oh, man, oof, right in the face.
That is shocking to see. I'm glad he's going to be okay. Well, a ski mountaineer from Poland, known for his incredible climb and ski feats, has done it again. Poland's Andrzej Bargiel has become the first person to ski down Mount Everest without an oxygen tank. It took him nearly 16 hours to climb Everest's notorious death zone, where oxygen levels are dangerously low. Once there, he clipped onto his skis and began his descent, because staying up there for too long can cause brain damage, fluid in the lungs, or even death. Well, the price of those colorful beachfront sheds along Australia's coast have surged in price, but they're missing something. The sheds known as beach boxes, bathing boxes, and boat sheds were originally built to offer privacy to change, because laws restricted changing clothes on the beach and walking streets in swimwear. Now, they're used to store items like kayaks and stand-up paddleboards. Many have been taken down, but those that remain can cost as much as $660,000. And get this, they don't have bedrooms, they don't have bathrooms, no running water, and no power.
You know, and now I'm wondering if like erosion is an issue over there, because like it's something we've been seeing that obviously on like our coast. So I'm wondering, like, is it going to be worth the investment down there? Who knows? I'll tell you what is worth the investment though. This radar that we've been watching very closely for the next weather maker. Elizabeth has been watching that with, of course, the rain that's coming our direction.
Boy, we talked about the big update from this morning, and that's that the models are coming together to potentially bring one of the storms, which is the one that hasn't quite developed yet, inland, potentially into South Carolina by early next week. So we're going to set the stage with this front coming through. We're not going to see a whole lot of rain with this. We do have a few showers that are popping up over the Triad right now. A lot of that headed northward. We will have some rain in the viewing area, but we're probably going to see maybe a quarter of an inch to a half an inch for today and tomorrow. But this is a look at the front and, the rain that we'll see for today and tomorrow. We do have a small chance of some severe storms for today, but that chance goes down for tomorrow. And the amount of rain, like I said, we'll see isn't too impressive. But by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we could see a few isolated cells. And don't get me wrong, some of this could be heavy at times, and there could be some thunder and lightning along with this. And it's likely to come through in a few waves, just kind of on and off between now and say midnight or so. We do have that level 1 risk for this afternoon and evening from the triangle area north and west. And then on Friday, it looks, on the minimal side, 3 o'clock, a couple little cells begin to pop up, a few more around, say, 6 or 8 o'clock. If you do have outdoor plans on Friday, do take note that we have that potential for those scattered storms. That front's going to stall, and then over the weekend, we get a flow of moisture. This is not a tropical system really yet, but just a flow of tropical moisture that intersects with that front. And that's going to bring us an increasing chance of some heavier rain for Saturday and Sunday. And then if Imelda does what the models are showing, that's going to move onshore, potentially here in South Carolina, and add more rain. So we would be on the messy side of that system. Of course, that storm hasn't even developed yet. It's sitting down here around the Dominican Republic, and a lot could happen with this. This is just, I'm sharing this with you because for the first time, the computer models are at a consensus with it, and it's so rare that we see that this far out. But still, plenty of things could change. So right here is potential Imelda, and you can see how it moves northward up towards South Carolina. At the same time, we have Humberto sitting offshore, and that storm could also be a major consideration for folks along the Outer Banks. It's likely to sit in the same position at about the same strength as Hurricane Erin did about 6 weeks ago. We remember what happened along the Outer Banks. What's likely to happen with Imelda is we see more rain just spreading across the entire state, and it could be enough to cause problems because we're going to see rain ahead of the actual storm. This is a look at Humberto. It could become Category 3 by early Monday, and then Category 2 as it moves past the coast of North Carolina. So a lot to kind of digest here with all of the elements that we'll see over the next 5 or 6 days. How much rainfall? Probably between now and Sunday, it's going to be 1 to 3 inches. But as that system develops and starts to spread more rain on Monday night and Tuesday, it is possible that we could see 3 to 6 inches of rain. Now, don't get hung up on exactly where that is because it could be anywhere and it could change as well. Right now, we have a low risk for flooding Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Back to today. Today's going to be hot. High of 92 this afternoon. We're going to talk a bit more about this developing situation for early next week coming up.
A show about the criminal justice system enters season 25.
These are their stories.
Hey, Law & Order's coming back. We got a preview of tonight's season premiere after the break.
Are you sure you're not on that show? Plus, you have heard of Rocky Balboa and A$AP Rocky, and now there's a new Rocky in town. How the name fits into the family's growing tradition.
A new season of NBC's Law & Order begins tonight with all 3 series in the franchise.
Yeah, the one that started it all enters a milestone season. Mark Barger has a preview of tonight's show.
These are their stories.
It's affectionately nicknamed The Mothership.
I've been watching it since before I could even understand English.
A television institution.
This might be one of those times.
That is almost a rite of passage for New York City actors.
Yeah, I've been on Law & Order. I've been on Law & Order 5 times playing 3 different characters.
Tonight, season 25 gets underway.
Please tell me you had nothing to do with this.
With ADA Maroon under suspicion.
Not guilty of murder.
When the suspect in her sister's murder is exonerated in another killing, but found dead hours later.
She seems pretty indignant that Nolan could even question whether she was involved in this murder.
Mm-hmm. But is she playing it, or is it,
Yeah.
There's no reason to think Sam had anything to do with this.
I'm not sure.
Yet they're able to accomplish these character dynamics and things that get an audience more invested in us just beyond the story of the case.
really doing this, huh?
I asked for permission, but...
It gives the character and Odelia Halevi
Take the bedroom.
a different perspective on Law & Order.
It's juicy and it's interesting and it was so fun to film. I cannot wait for everybody to see and experience that twist.
It's all spilled out in the warrant, Sam. You know how this works.
All part of a new season that also sees the return of SVU as well as organized crime.
Being a part of it is sort of like, it's a dream come true.
Mark Barger, NBC Entertainment.
1 year later, the effort to recover from Helene is far from over. The work that's left in Western North Carolina.
And cutting back the average number of subscriptions Americans pay for every month. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number 1 source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Well, there are several systems in the tropics that we are watching very closely today, and meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is here to join me about what's new that we have learned within the past, a couple of hours, and still looks very active out there.
So, Chris, we have models that come in about every 6 hours. These are the long-range models that you hear us talking about, and so that's going to be the European and the American. And so let's take a look right here. So the one here, if we can come back to maybe us in front of the camera. There we go. So this one here, eventually it's going to move northward and could become Imelda. That's going to be the next name on the list. And then we have Umberto. So lots of things going on here. And the big question is always, where are these going to go?
Yeah, I know the spaghetti plots can only show you so much there. And obviously the red, that's, a bit of a concern there, especially along our coast. What kind of effects could we be talking about? Like rough surf, that kind of thing?
Yeah, so what's new, which is really interesting, is that, Imelda hasn't even formed yet. And so the models didn't really have a good grasp of where it may be. So now they're all, saying this really looks like it's going to make landfall here into South Carolina. So what that means for us is that we're going to be on the side of the storm where all of the rain is. And so this looks like it could be a significant rain issue for us. Right. We're going to have the potential for some rain for a couple of days ahead of it too.
Now, this is obviously, we're a ways out before it approaches, but this is the time for people to be paying attention to the forecast because things could potentially change along the way.
So things have changed so much in the last 24 hours, and this is not likely to happen until Monday. So we could see a lot of changes. And the only reason that I'm really showing this and really pointing it out is because we finally have some good consensus. So what we're looking at here is in red is the European and in white is the American. And look how they both come together right there at South Carolina. So that's concerning, especially because we're going to see rain ahead of this, and then we could see some heavy rain with this early in the week. So something that, yes, people need to keep checking back with us on.
And definitely why you should download the WRAL weather app and turn those notifications on.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth.
All right, thanks, guys. The devastation from the storm was felt in our viewing area as well from Helene. An EF3 tornado that touched down in Rocky Mount left businesses destroyed and more than a dozen people hurt. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey shows us areas that were badly damaged when that tornado hit.
15 people were injured during that EF3 tornado, and I'm standing where one of the businesses used to be here on North Wesleyan Boulevard. That building had to be demolished, so you're looking at what's left. New Drone 5 video shows what this plaza on North Wesleyan Boulevard looks like today. This is the area where that EF3 tornado ripped through last year. Here's a look at some of the damage after it first happened. 14 buildings were destroyed, including a church and multiple restaurants. Wind speeds peaked at 140 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. Just days after this tornado hit, linemen from Rocky Mount were sent to western North Carolina. They worked to restore power for hundreds who were devastated after Helene. Electrical line supervisor Cody Melvin remembers the communities he served in the mountains.
They were very appreciative. People were willing to do whatever they could to help out, make sure we had what we needed and stuff like that. So it was nice to see the neighborhood come together.
We'll show you what's left of a Chinese restaurant that was a part of this plaza. You can see how the windows and the doors are all boarded up there. And we're also told that this restaurant is now permanently closed. Some of the businesses in this area have reopened, but at least 2 of them are closed. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News in Rocky Mount.
And coming up in the next 10 minutes, WRAL documentary producer Kristen Severance joins us with a preview of tonight's special, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center. I want you to take a good look at your screen right now because the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office Youth Services Division asking for the public's help in locating this 15-year-old girl. Her name is Janiyah Walker. She has black hair, brown eyes, about 5'3", weighing about 160 pounds. Walker was last seen wearing blue jeans, a black shirt with a pink and yellow teddy bear on it, and black Crocs. She was also last seen near her home on Smith Road in Hope Mills. If you have any idea where Janiyah Walker might be, you need to give the Cumberland County Sheriff's Office a call.
Get that image up online so you can share that as well. Thank you, Ken. A Rocky Mount group is providing metal detector wands to the Edgecombe County Sheriff's Office, and this is meant to help with safety at football games in the county. Now, you may recall there was a shooting this month during a Southwest Edgecombe High School football game. 2 teenagers were injured, but people in the area say, well, they're not comfortable going to a game anymore. One member of the group donating the wands is a former teacher, and they say safety for everyone needs to be top priority.
We are concerned about safety for our young people, but we want to be safe for all citizens. That's our concern.
The school had deputies and metal detectors at the game when the shooting happened, and the sheriff told us his office is reviewing its safety plans to figure out how the gun got into the stadium. A 17-year-old was arrested in connection to the shooting.
The maintenance director at Granville County Schools says a mold issue forcing a school to close was preventable for years. A Granville Academy staff member reported concerns of mold at the campus last month. According to testing results that came back this week, more than 60% of surface samples and 80% of air samples taken showed mold. The school board decided to relocate all students to G.C. Hawley Middle School in Creedmoor. Last night, the director of maintenance expressed his thoughts on what went wrong.
Unfortunately, in our district, budget often dictates where that money's spent from year to year. Not to say that was the case here during that time, but yes, ma'am, it was definitely a deferred maintenance issue that over time is starting to catch up with us.
The school board plans to move students and staff from school to school in phases. The last move will be either during winter break or next summer.
Just ahead, are we learning bad road habits from other people? Well, a new study from AAA is saying quite a bit about road rage.
And as we near the 1-year anniversary of Helene, we are hearing directly from those who are impacted in our state. For news, traffic, and weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app. Road rage could be contagious. That's according to a new study by AAA. Data reveals that 96% of drivers experience some type of road rage. The agency says aggressive behaviors on the road are likely learned from drivers who act aggressively toward them. 92% of respondents say they have exhibited aggressive driving, while 11% say they have committed violent acts like bumping another car on the road. Well, many Americans may be hitting the unsubscribe button. Recent data shows the average American is cutting back on their number of subscriptions from streaming services to food delivery apps. According to the survey, the average consumer went from having about 4 subscriptions in 2024 to 3 subscriptions this year.
The new year will not come with a new price increase for postage stamps. The U.S. Postal Service is not seeking to increase the price of postal products. And yes, that does include first-class mail stamps. In July, USPS raised the price of first-class stamps from 73 cents to 78. And it plans to look at prices again in mid-2026. Aldi is giving its products a bit of a makeover. Aldi says more than 90% of its products are private label, but soon nearly all products will feature the Aldi logo on their labels. Aldi says some items are already being sold in the new packaging, but changes will be made over the next few years.
Keep it cute and keep it moving. Cardi B shares inspirational messages with subway passengers.
And active weather. You know what? It might look pretty calm and clear right now, but much of our area could see some much needed rain. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner will be back with her forecast in just a bit. Hey, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. The man accused of stealing another person's identity to get a teaching job appeared in court today. Gregory Pettiford worked in at least 4 schools in our area using different names. He was in court today for identity theft charges after police say he stole someone's identity to get hired at a Franklin County school. Cameras were not allowed in court, but Pettiford opted for a court-appointed